Right, bottom pulley off and time belt for 4D56. Again, the engine's out the car, so easier to see everything. This is your timing belt there, and it's your tensioner. It runs round there, down there, round the bottom of the pulley, up, round the tensioner and back. Mine's not timed up at the moment because I'm taking it all off and will be retiming it later anyway. You can see it's been marked in the past with the for the camshaft. Round underneath this cover here you can see another mark, and on the pulley there's top dead centre there. There's 10 degrees after top dead centre, I assume that's 5. This is just like a tin pulley that fits on to the sort of bottom pulley there. That runs your air conditioning and power steering. There's one behind, there's 2 V belts that run up round the water. So there's a fan goes on there that runs round there, down to your alternator and back again. So first thing I'm going to do is take these tin pulley bolts off. Hopefully it's only a small impact driver, so it's not. It's probably the wrong size socket. It is. So I shall put the right size one on, which I thought I had on. There's 1 bolt, 2 bolt, whenever I do anything up I tend to use hand tools and torque it. I don't like doing things up with power tools, but undoing isn't a problem. So let me just get a soft faced hammer, or not a metal hammer, and just give a few taps, and there it comes off. You can see it's just a pulley. These pulleys here, they do sometimes have a problem. They're bonded in 2 pieces, and around somewhere in there there's a rubber like shock absorber, and these can delaminate, and it causes all this sort of to wobble, which can damage the end of the crank which is in there. When you take this bolt out, they always suggest putting a new bolt in. I'm not sure why, but that's the powers that be. Possibly it's a stretch bolt, I don't know. So 22 mil in this case. Those ones I just took off, sorry, were 12 mils. I had to take this off to get to this cover, because this cover pushes over it and then that pulley goes on, so I can get to the bottom of the belts and everything else. And then that's held on by 10 mils that are there, and I can get that whole front cover off. But I shall try this. I've not used it for a while, so the battery might be flat. So let's have a quick go. No, I was quite lucky there. That's a 22 mil socket there. If it's on the vehicle, you can't really always get tools into it because of the lack of access. So what some people do, I've seen or heard, is they put a 22 mil socket onto a breaker bar like this, rest it on the chassis leg, and then give the engine a quick flick, and that's supposed to be enough to break it off. I've not done it that way myself, but some people have done it. Another way is if you can get a tool made up. So if I put that back in place, you can get a tool made up that sort of curves round and then has a bar off of it, and you bolt it to them. Again, just a way of holding this. You can get those Y-shaped tools that you screw into these sort of places as well, that just holds the bottom solid. So I can get this off now. As you can see, that's coming off nice and easy. See, it's got a slot in it there. I don't know if you can really see that on the camera, but it goes onto a wood rough key, which is on the crankshaft, which is one of these things there. I'll have to get the covers off to get that one off, I think. But I'll just pause the video now. Oh, hang on, I won't point out. That's your crankshaft sensors behind there. This is just for information. So I'll give it a quick pause now, and I shall take the rest of the covers off and come back. Right, I'm a bit of a problem here, as in it won't come off. last time I did it, I would change the water pump, so that wasn't on there. But this is the air conditioning pulley adjuster, so it's not playing the game. So I think just to make it easier, I'll whip this off. It says set on there. A long bolt. Expecting that. And that was a 12mm down there, and these other two are 14mm. So I'll just whip them off as well. That gives me a lot better access. Put that down there and put that there, and I shall show you what happens now. That comes off. Say it's held on with the top cover's on obviously, but it's held on with a bolt there, bolt there, bolt there, and one down there. So that there's a bolt in the middle, but that sticks through that hole there, so it doesn't cause any problems. And that exposes all the, from my screwdriver pointer stuff. Obviously that's your crankshaft sensor, that's your crank, well they call it a blade, but that's what tells it when to fire. I pull that off slowly, that's right next to the sensor, so I have to put the bolt back in and turn the engine, or I'll just take those two 10mm bolts out and then the sensor can move. But what you've got there is the bottom pulley behind there, follows up fuel pump, camshaft, tensioner, back to the crankshaft. This pulley here was for the balance belt, and these are balance shafts, one there, there's one down there. You see that's got well, that one's got a little mark in it, and that one's been marked in the pink thing, but again the same mark there. So when the balance belt's on, you time it all up. I've cut the balance belt off because to see if that was what was causing the knocking with these balance shafts, but they it wasn't that, it was the big end in the end. So that's that. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to release the tensioner from there, and then that means I can get the belt off. I should probably take the crankshaft sensor off now. One crankshaft sensor bolt, two crankshaft sensor bolts. So there's your crank sensor can come out now. If you look carefully, you can see it's got a you might not be able to see from there. It's held on to one of the bolts between the plastic case and the engine, sort of there. So also it's got this round bit here which goes into a cutout in the block casing, just to keep crap and shit and that sort of stuff out. You can see now the blade will come off. And now I shall do tensioner. I think it's a 13, I think. Is that 13? It's a 12. Right, that's a 13. Again, I'll use a impact driver. When I do it up, I do it up by hand. It should spring and release everything. Right, so that's that one out. Oh, right. Yes, that's the one that you tighten up when it's you release it. Obviously, it's got one at the bottom as well that will hold it in place. Coming out. Well, I might actually be a 12. Yeah, should have knocked down the bolts like that. I thought should have checked first, really. have to do this one by hand. I think the battery's going on that. So not sure if I've got enough room to get in there. Yes. See now all the tensions gone off the belt, floppy and twisted there sort of thing, so I shall mess around and get this off. That's what I thought I did it last time. If it's at an angle. So put the whizzy thing back on it again. Right. Now, how much further does it come out? Right, that's out. That's the tension off. And then it's the belt off. If you're going to reuse the belt, it's best to sort of put a mark on it showing the way it goes. The engine turns clockwise, so everything else goes clockwise, so put an arrow on the top going that way. I've been putting a new belt on, it's 3 years since I did it, so should have a couple of years left in it, but as it's all apart, I should just chuck a new one on. And I think that's about it for now. Oh no, I can take this off here, the bottom pulley. That's one of the wood rough keys I was talking about. If you can see that. So I should put that down there. Bottom pulley comes off. That's one that drives the timing belt. Just sit there. And this is the one that drives the balance belt. It's got this spacer in between. It's sort of got a raised bit round there, so that faces out towards the front of the vehicle. And then you've got this bottom pulley here as well. So take that off. And again, you can see it's got a slot in it. I don't know if you can or not. It's got a slot in it for wood rough key. So there is a second wood rough key, which is probably around the corner from the camera, that you can't see. So I shall get the screwdriver so I can get it out. I'll probably get out some pliers, I think. And my needle nose one, not these ones. There you go, another wood rough key.